Hi teachers, this quick video is going to talk about some of the overarching options that you have when creating interactive slides and drawings for students. So first I want to clarify by what I mean by interactive. An interactive slide or drawing is when a student has to either type their own answers into a slide, drag and drop things in a slide, add their own content to a slide, or modify a slide in some way. If a student only needs to listen to audio or play video and read text, that actually means that you do not need to make a copy for each student. So it's only when students are going to produce their own final product with your slide that they need to have a copy for each student. And the same thing goes for drawings. So when you are first starting with your slide or drawing, you want to pay attention to your page setup or the size of your canvas. And this is called a canvas. Same thing in drawings. And you'll notice my canvas right now looks very much like an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. It actually is. I can change this at any time by going down to File, Page Setup, and going to select Custom, and then I have the option to change it to inches, centimeters, points, or pixels. So this can be great for setting things up maybe to look like a piece of paper or a journal or a notebook. It can also be great if it's something that you want to print in the end. You might want to choose dimensions that work best for printing. If you're using drawings, you have the option to change the size of the canvas by dragging in the corner, or by coming up and doing File, Page Setup, selecting Custom, and then again setting your inches, centimeters, points, or pixels. Setting up a custom page setup also gives you a lot more gray space to the side. And the gray space can also be used with students. And if you want to learn more about using that gray space with students, check out the video that's in the next slide deck. So when you are creating, sometimes you will want to copy and paste. And this can be great so that you don't have to recreate setup each time you are adding new materials. So in general, if you want to copy and paste text, you can select the whole text box. And I select the whole text box by clicking on the edge with the 4-way arrow. And then I use Control-C and then Control-V for victory, and I paste the text box. I can also come over and I can either duplicate, right-click to duplicate my slide, or I can Control-C and Control-V my slides. This can be great, so then you can just modify little things on a slide and you don't have to start from scratch each time. So duplicate slides or copy and paste slides to add more. You have options to change the background, and if you're interested in learning about how you get those unmovable backgrounds that can help with setting up templates, there's a video in that next slide deck that will help you with that as well. Some of the basics for slides and drawings are exactly the same. So as I look at my toolbar across the top, you'll notice I have my basic options such as lines, shapes, text boxes, images, different ways to insert images, and I can add comments. I can also insert my own things here. I've even seen teachers add comments for their instructions instead of adding text boxes. It made it a little bit easier for students to follow along with. Again, it's whatever works for you and your students. If I come up to insert here, I do have a few more options for inserting on a slide. Keep in mind, when you're creating an interactive slide deck, you can set up everything for your students, or you can simply have a slide where students are told to use tools up here in order to add things of their own. Maybe they have to draw certain digital shapes, or maybe they have to insert their own table and add information to that table, or create a chart. So not everything that you do in an interactive slide deck needs to actually have all the pieces made. Sometimes it's appropriate to have students make their own pieces. The slide deck that you will view after this will have lots of different tutorials on how to do different little things in Google Slides or drawings. Keep in mind that while many of these videos are going to show the Google Slide screen, most of these things can also be done in Google Drawings. So I hope you take some time, figure out what you're going to want to do. You've really digested some of those example templates that were shared in the prior assignment. Those templates are really going to help you see all the different things that you might create in an interactive slide deck. And I promise that once you get this up and running and you get more familiar with the tools, things will start to go faster. It's okay to borrow from people that are already out there. In fact, many educators share their things with you because they want to share and want to pass it on. As you're grabbing things from other individuals, do make sure that if the individual has asked, you are providing them credit for their work when you are using it as your own. And if you're modifying things, that's okay, but still make sure credit is given to them. Be sure to watch the other 2 videos in this assignment to learn how to then assign these things to students, and lastly, how you can still use these interactive slide decks when you are teaching in front of your students in class.